What is your name, what are your pronouns, and what are you going to talk about today?
So, I'm Lily. I go by she, her pronouns, and I'm going to talk about my long-term health condition, which I consider a disability.
I'm Chloe. I also use she, her pronouns, and also going to talk about my long-term health condition.
Could you please give us a description about your condition?
I'll go from the start. So when I was 12, I had a brain tumour, and I had 2 lots of brain surgery and a 6-week course of radiotherapy to get rid of it. It did its job and reduced the size of the tumour, but it made a cyst grow, which is why they did the radiotherapy basically. Years later, about the age of 21, I got really ill, really poorly, and I had problems with my hormones, and I actually went to the doctor about my periods not being regular, etc. And I went, got sent to an endocrinologist, and he said that the radiotherapy had damaged my pituitary gland. So that has meant that I do not produce the signals that produces the hormones. So my brain doesn't send the signals where it needs to go to produce the hormones, basically. So I don't produce enough ACTH, that's steroids, basically, which you need to live. And I don't produce enough thyroid, so I'm on levothyroxine as well. On steroids for life, I have to carry an injection because if I'm ill, seriously ill or in an accident, your body naturally produces more. And since I don't create that signal, my body won't do that, so I have to be injected. And that's forever now.
I was born with the condition. I was a really poorly baby, and it took them a while and realised that I was born without a pituitary gland. So like Lily, the signals couldn't be sent because there was nothing to send the signals. So I was put on medication to replace the hormones, to help me grow, to basically keep me living.
How has your health condition affected you personally?
So it affects me on a day-to-day basis. I get really, really tired a lot of the time. I'm actually having my meds reviewed at the moment because I'm 28 years old and I'm falling asleep by 3 p.m. most days. I go to bed at 9 o'clock, and even after a full night's sleep, I'm still really tired. It affects my day-to-day work as well because I've got a low immune system being on steroids. So I've got to be really careful about who I come in contact with, about sanitising my hands, making sure I have the flu vaccine, the COVID vaccine. COVID was really difficult because I had to not leave the house. I can't think what they called it, but where I was sent the letter from the GP saying you cannot leave your house. That was really, really awful because I'm at such high risk of, if I got ill, I'd get a lot more ill. So work can be really difficult, managing the fatigue, managing medication, and trying to live day to day. In the long term, I think it's going to affect my life because it's hormones, and I don't think me and my partner are going to be able to have children because of this. A lot of women with this problem go through early menopause around the age that I currently am. So, and the doctors won't do anything because I've also put on weight because of steroids. So it's just one messy big circle, and it affects me day to day, really.
As with Lily, it does make you so tired all the time. I mean, it affects how you work, it affects how you see friends, and a lot of the time I will have to cancel plans because I just can't manage it, or I'll push myself to do something when I shouldn't, and then need time to recover from that. It's affected kind of friendships, and it's affected my mental health. I've got a phobia of sick because of it. Going into like hypos and adrenal crisis from having something, just a sickness bug. A lot of things really. Like you said, it was just, there's so many different, because your hormones affect all different parts of your body. There's constantly different things to monitor as well. So
yeah, they affect everything, and even things you don't think about, like my hair started falling out because I did night shifts. So because my meds were being at different times and because I'd gone out that routine, my hair just started falling out. I had no idea why, and then realised it was all related to that. yeah, my blood pressure's high, I have problems with my ankles, my calves, like if I'm sat down for too long they're in pain, and that's hormone related. Everything comes back to hormones, and if you don't produce the right hormones, it's affected.
How did your health condition affect you growing up?
Mine affected me from a young age, so I was 12 when I was diagnosed, so I started experiencing headaches aged 11. It took 6 months for the doctors to take it seriously. So I'd just started my period, as you do at that age, and so they started blaming it on that, blaming it on hormones, saying it was because I was overweight, because I was getting bullied at school, so I was making up these headaches. Yeah, they were blaming it on all sorts, to even just get diagnosed with a tumour in the first instance, which was ridiculous. And then from there, I was in and out of hospital from the age of 12 to about the age of 15. I was in a wheelchair as well because of the tumour had left me weak on my left side. And then as well at that age, they just put me on the pill because my hormones were messed up, because it had affected it from that early. They just shoved me on the pill, didn't check anything as to why, and just left me on it until age 21. So I got out of a wheelchair, went to university, sort of living my life normally, then met my partner, so I wanted to come off the pill, and then that's when I got diagnosed.
I guess I've never known anything different. I always remember feeling different. I wouldn't be allowed to sleepovers because of my like injection I'd have to take in the evening, and or just not being well enough. I was poorly a lot, just with I'd just catch different illnesses and infections, and was constantly just in and out of hospitals with appointments. I think a lot of friends didn't really realise how, I think that's a lot of the time when you have a medical condition or other things, like things that are hidden, people don't really realise how bad it is until they see it. I just remember being poorly a lot and just trying to kind of get my levels stabilised and get my weight up and things like that.
Around the same age, so when I was about 12, going through all of this, 12, 13, I lost so many friends because they were, it sounds bad saying this now, but because they were too immature to deal with a friend that was ill, so they couldn't cope that I was sometimes in school, sometimes not, and they didn't know how to deal with that. I barely know how to deal with it, so I can understand why, but it was really difficult to make and sustain those friendships as a teenager.
Have you felt you've been marginalised or stereotyped due to your health condition within the community or at the university?
A little bit when I was a teenager. At school, I got put in a room that was for those that didn't fit in with the rest of the school. So it was the kids that were really naughty and that would get kicked out of lessons. And then we had a young lady with Down syndrome, so I went in there for extra help. I got a boy in a wheelchair, he went in there because that's where his support was. So again, PE lessons or any other lessons that he couldn't do, he'd be in there. There was a couple of students with autism and dyslexia, so they kind of just shoved me in there, which wasn't actually the place I needed to be, because I think that affected my whole time at school, and I felt like that sort of, I don't know if that's classed as marginalising me, but that's how it kind of felt. It was very sort of shoving you into a box and forgetting about you. At university, not really. So when I first went to university in 2015, which was a different university, first time living on my own, nothing like that happened because I didn't tell anybody. I only told people that needed to know, like to get the halls that were accommodating for me, etc. I lived in halls that I requested a disabled room, or a disabled friendly room, but it was on the same floor as other students that didn't need a disabled room. So actually I didn't actually have to tell them why I was in that room, because for all they knew I just got put in there at that floor like they did. There was other disabled students and we all sort of told each other and were friends with each other, but everybody else I didn't, because at age 18, especially because of what had happened at school, I just thought that they'd treat me the same as how the school treated me, which was to separate me from everybody else, be like, oh, we don't want to be friends with her because of this, that or the other. So as I've grown up and become an adult, I've realised actually that's really stupid, but as an 18-year-old you don't think of these things. And then now at this university, again, not that's never really happened. And in the workplace, working for the Students' Union, they're so inclusive that that's not ever happened, which is great.
I wouldn't say so as much with my medical condition. I think I've got very used to people not understanding what it is actually, because no one knows about the condition. I don't really feel like I've ever had a community as such. It wasn't until I met Lily just over a year ago that I didn't know anyone with the condition, and only I just grabbed you, didn't I? Because I spotted you had a wristband, and saw it, so I thought, grab her.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think most of the time people don't know what it is. I had to kind of get very used to telling people what it was, especially having it like at school and things like that, because of the kind of risk aspect of it, and like going into hypos and the risk of adrenal crisis. I have had to get used to telling people about the condition, and most people panic, to be honest, with the thought of having to possibly inject me or getting paramedics to come, and obviously it has to be done really quickly because of what it is, and the lack of adrenaline. So most people do panic, but other than that it's kind of okay experiences.
Yeah, I've never met anybody with this condition until I met Chloe a year ago, and it was only because of my medical bracelet that we found out. And then I agree with Chloe that nobody knows what it is and they panic as soon as you say it. So like here, as soon as we told the university or the union about it, it was putting a plan in place for what was to happen if we did need our injection. But it's been like that in every other job I've had. I was an agency staff working in schools, and they were the same. They were they'd panic and be like, "Oh, you've got needles on you." That was the initial panic first, was what do we do because you've got needles. But then the second one was, oh wait, what do we do if you have a crisis? Or
Have you felt you've been marginalised or stereotyped due to having a hidden disability?
Yeah, because you get, oh, well, you don't look disabled. Oh, you don't look like you've got a health condition. Oh, well, you look perfectly fine to me. Oh, yeah, because I'm wearing makeup. Because I got up an hour earlier to make sure I didn't have bags under my eyes. Because I got a good night's sleep. But then the next day you'll come in and it'll be like, oh, well, you don't look very well. Well, yeah, because I've got a health condition. Because I've got a disability. So I'll add in as well, I'm also partially deaf in my left ear. No one considers that a hidden disability, but it is, because no one can actually tell that I am deaf. But it's the constant, oh, you don't look disabled. And then in the work environment, it can be really difficult. When I first went into a job, I didn't tell the job about any of this because I thought they'd hold it against me. Because no one actually explains to you, and like nowadays they do, but back then they'd never explained to you that actually filling out that form means they will help you, not that they will hold it against you. But it was always, oh, that means that they're not going to hire me, that means they're going to fire me, that means that they're not going to they're going to treat me differently, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. No, that just means that they can get you a proper chair at your desk or get you a proper set of headphones so you can hear out of, But because of the sort of the stigma around being disabled, it's never taught at school or at university, it's never talked about. It's just you've got to go now into you've got a degree or you want to go get a job as a disabled person, just off you go. So it's be really difficult, especially when it's a hidden disability.
I've definitely found that a lot of people don't realise, and a lot of it is, oh well, you're young, and I think that's a big one. I think a lot of people assume because you are young that there is nothing wrong with your body. I don't think I found it too much with my medical condition. I found it, I guess, that pressure a lot with being autistic, but I think to a sense, it is mostly the young thing with the health condition.
Yeah, I just want to add as well, it's when you're in a situation where you have to prove it, that's when it's difficult. So to get into a disabled toilet, or to get into a disabled area at a concert, if you need to prove it somehow, how do you do that? Because it's not visible. Yeah, there's not a little card that says, oh, by the way, like when I carry my injections around, I've been caught, not caught, that's one word, by security getting into a nightclub. And they found them, and then I've had to explain, even though they're medical grade ones, so it's all in the box, and I've got a letter from the doctor, they still sometimes don't believe you. It's like, what am I going to do with that? That medication, the liquid, is taped up because I have yet to use it. What are they expecting me to do with that? They treat you like especially some nightclubs treat you like a criminal for wanting to stay alive.
I think there is quite an emphasis sometimes on having to prove that you're ill enough sometimes. Which can be quite toxic and draining, can't it? And not a nice, and it can be quite invalidating as well. And because a lot of time, when I'm ill, a lot of time it's not in public, so a lot of people don't see that side to me. Whereas friends that I have lived with, throughout uni, they know how bad it can get. So it's because people don't see it all the time. It's a weird space, isn't it?
Yeah, I can completely agree with that.
Could you do some myth busting about stereotypes surrounding your health condition or hidden disabilities?
Just that a disability has to be visible, for one. That's really, not all disabilities are visible.
I don't really know for the health condition because of the fact that no one knows about it. It's so unheard of. You go to the doctors and half of them don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't. Yeah, there's not really community as such, or them kind of stereotypes, because it's just not well known.
Yeah, I feel that when you say it's hormone related, there is a little bit of a stereotype or a stigma of, oh, well, that means you're going to be a really hormonal woman, and the stigma behind that of being crying, or yes, I do cry, but that's not because of my hormones, that's just because I'm an emotional person, or that everything's because of your hormones. Like if you get angry, or you're hysterical woman because of your hormones. So I think there's that sort of stigma behind the hormones related, but I don't think people realise how much hormones actually do as well. I've just sort of another one that we just previously mentioned, that you have to be old to have a disability. Disabilities can affect you at any age, young or old, and affect you throughout your life. A very big one that was shown at the event that we went to recently was that you can be in a beautiful dress and have loads of makeup on and have your hair all done nice and still be disabled. But you can be in your pyjamas and have no makeup on and you're still the exact same person just because you've got your hair done, or an Instagram filter or a Snapchat filter or whatever. It still doesn't mean that you're not chronically fatigued or in chronic pain, or got whatever else going on. So it's not all at face value.
When I think this was a lot when I was younger, I'd tell people about my condition. I was like, well, basically I don't make any hormones, and then you'd get the so do you not have periods then? I was like, no, it's more than that. That's not quite it. I guess that's one assumption.
Yeah, I think definitely that that's all hormones do. Oh, just regulate it, just gives you a period. No, there's so much more than that. Like your nails, your hair, your skin, how your adrenal glands work, which is our issue. All of it is hormone related.
How could the people around you and the university do better or help you more?
I think talking about it more. So talking about hidden disabilities, making them aware that hidden disabilities exist at any age, that it's not all disabilities are visible, that there's more that can be done, that the help that can be there, just not just to make adaptations for these people, but just to try and be aware of it, so everything can be not even adapted, just that we just live in an inclusive environment. I think that's just in life and in university, that like hearing loop, for example, I don't have a hearing aid in my deaf ear, but if I was to, what harm would it be to someone who's not deaf to have that hearing loop in that room? It wouldn't cause anything to them whether it was there or not, but it would mean a massive thing to me if that hearing loop wasn't there, if I was to have a hearing aid. So why can't they just be automatically put in every room or whatever? And that's the same for any sort of adaptations, that not to ask, or say, we don't look disabled, I have to prove it. Like, if I need to use a disabled toilet, the chances are there's a reason, that I'm not just using it for the fun of it. So why should I then have to prove or get a radar key out of my bag to say, actually, that's the reason as to why. And I think the same with, when you meet someone, you don't know what they're going through. So just to keep that in mind, just talking to people and in life in general, not again just at the university, but just in life, that every person you come in contact with, you don't know what they're going through in their own life, whether they have got a chronic health condition, they have got hidden disability, or anything else really that's going on.
I would always say ask the person you're working with, and don't make assumptions of what they would want, because a lot of conditions vary person to person. I have very different needs to Lily, despite having the same condition, and it's always better to ask the person about what they need, rather than to just think, well, that person had that condition, so that person must also have them requirements. And I think it's also really important to just do a little bit of research. I mean, you don't have to do loads, but if you're working with someone with a condition or anything like that, just have a little Google or research to see if you can find out a bit more, and ways to help that person. See if there's, like in a workplace, see if there's training available, because that could make such a difference to that person. I've been very, very lucky in the fact that my friends have always done such a good job at looking after me, especially from coming to uni and my health getting worse in the past couple of years. They've done a lot to help me, and probably wouldn't have. I would have been in some really bad situations otherwise. And I have traumatised friends from being in, just from having hypos, and obviously they're like very young adults as well, and like that shouldn't be something that they should be helping with, but they do, and they don't complain about it, and they have saved my life multiple times. So I have been very, very lucky to have them.
Yeah, I've just thought of something else as well. Just not to think or react to someone thinking they're lazy just because they're, say, getting a lift or using a shortcut or something, because the amount of people that I'm walking with, so if I'm walking across campus and then I get to the building and I'm finally out, chances are that I'm then not going to manage that stairs as well, that I'm going to then need to use that lift, even if it's up or down, either way. But the amount of times I get from someone, it's just the stairs, or don't be so lazy, or but the chances are you don't know what else I've done that day, you don't know how I'm feeling, that just because I want to use a lift or an alternative route or whatever, it's not me being lazy, or it's not that person being lazy. The chances are there's a reason behind that.
How do you feel the media represents your health condition or hidden disabilities?
In the media, it's the token person in a wheelchair. There'll be all of these people standing and then someone in a wheelchair. And then that shows that, oh, you have to be in a wheelchair to have a disability. You have to walk with a walking stick. Or if you do walk, if there is someone with a walking stick, they're old. And it's just like, no, I know loads of younger people that have to use walking aids. And then, they're not, it's not because they're old, it's because they need to. Yeah. So just to show that, I know it's a hidden disability and you might not be able to show it, but some sort of form of representation that shows that actually that person in the wheelchair might not be the only disabled person in that group there. And to stop just using them when, like that logo, every time we talk about disabled, it's just the disabled, the parking space logo. And I think that's a really poor logo to have, because it's such a wide spectrum of conditions, hidden or not, that it's anything can constitute anything, any health conditions or anything can constitute a disability. You don't have to be in a wheelchair to be disabled.
Yeah, the media doesn't really portray us, does it, with our condition, because there's just nothing like there. But I can definitely say, for being autistic, it's always the 5-year-old little boy, isn't it? It's never girls, it's never adults, but like, it's the fact that autistic children do grow up to be adults, and there's just, you never really get that. A lot of them as well is that disabled people just don't work, or it's just we just want benefits. And actually a lot of disabled people want to do everything that they can. A lot of disabled people wish they could work if they can't work. I don't think people realise how isolating it can be when you're just stuck at home all day. Obviously everyone was in during COVID, but a lot of people were going out for walks and like doing different things, whereas a lot of disabled people, we couldn't go out. I wasn't even allowed to go to the end of the drive to bring my bins in. It's completely different to what people think. I think there's there's a couple of groups that we're in, isn't there? But that's mostly about kind of like asking for advice, asking for like medical stuff, like are my test results okay?
Do you live in my area, I have this condition, I want to meet someone else, or does anyone know a good doctor in this area because I'm fed out of mine, which is a very common one. These are my results, but my doctor is saying this, but however I already am aware of this, what can I do? Just sort of building that community. They're sort of closed groups. You have to like answer questions to be allowed on them, but they do help in a way. Like I've posted and got a question answered on there. I think in terms of disabilities, it's changing slightly now with the whole influencer more of a thing, and I know I sound really old saying it like that, and I apologise, but there's someone called Chronically Jenny, for example, and on her Facebook and Instagram, etc., she does loads of videos about pretty much most of what I've just said, which is face full of makeup and a face without makeup, and she's saying that she's still disabled in both, and it's sort of breaking down those barriers. And I'm hoping that this is going to become more of a thing, and more people with hidden disabilities or long-term health conditions feel more comfortable sharing their stories and sharing like this, because then we might break down these barriers a bit more.
Is there anything else you would like to say, or anything you would like anyone to know about your health condition or hidden disabilities?
It's taken me a long time to sort of come to terms with my disabilities. My health condition is a part of me, doesn't define who I am. I am not Lily, the disabled person, or Lily with the health condition. I'm just Lily, and I just unfortunately have this. And it's taken to the age of 28 to be able to realise that and that it's okay not to be okay. It's okay to ask for help, or have a day off ill, or to get a bit of assistance, or to use the lift, or that I'm going to doctor's appointments and telling the doctor that I'm not okay, that it's not something that should be not spoken about, and it's taken a long time to sort of come to terms with, that it's okay to talk about it and okay to be a part of me and not define me, really.
I would just say that, I mean, as much as I've had this my entire life, I am still learning about it all the time. It's just, there's so much to it. There's only so much you can do. I guess it's, I mean, our condition is very unpredictable as well, how we're going to feel about things. As much as I try and prepare for certain things, most of my hypos happen after gigs, because I gig at the weekend, and as much as I will try and I'll double my meds that day, I will try and make sure I eat stuff like enough, but because my hypos are are diabetics, and it's because of the adrenaline we produce, it's you just can't prepare sometimes, so it's a lot of the time it is out of our control.
Yeah.
So that can be really hard to manage. So I think just having a bit of empathy